Namaste. Let's continue with the reasons what Arjuna is giving to not fight the war. So he told about how he will be sinned if he kills, what happiness he will get. So he was talking all about himself. And then he went on to talking about the consequences of war. How if the head of the family is no more, then there will be a huge personal loss, psychological loss, financial loss. So, how will the children behave after that when they don't have a father figure at home? How will the safety of the woman be? Their safety will be compromised, or even because of no choice, the women also can turn immoral so that they feed their children. So there are a lot of consequences which can happen, which is very heartbreaking, which is not good for the society. So he continues with that. Okay, let's see what's the next verse that Arjuna wants to tell. Sankaro narakayaiva kulaghnanam kulasya cha patanti pitaro hesham lupta pindodaka kriyaha. So he's now talking about what would happen if there is an increase in the unwanted children. So he was talking about the women, and because of the circumstances the women have to undergo, they might have unwanted children. So what will happen if there is an unwanted children in the society? So he says, Lupta Pindodaka Kriyaha. Failure to offer food and water. That is what it means. Now, what is this food and water? So when children, grandchildren becomes very selfish and individualistic. So because there's nobody who's there to guide them, to teach them the values, to lead their life in a very righteous manner. So they can turn very selfish and individualistic, and they may not care at all for the ancestors. They may not have any faith in the traditions or culture which has been passed on from the ancestors. Another thing is what it says about Pindodaka Kriya is there is a custom, there is a tradition that where the people who are living, they offer Shraddham to the ancestors. So when somebody dies in the family, there is a ritual, and every year there is a Shraddham ritual which has been given as a token of gratitude to the ancestors for whatever they have done, for whatever they have given them, okay, as a mark of respect, as a mark of love, as a mark of gratitude, whatever we are able to do for them from here. So that ritual is called as the Shraddham. So that is offering food, Pinda and Udaka, Pindodaka, Pinda and Udaka. Pinda is food, Udaka is water. So the ritual tells that, we are invoking the ancestors and giving them food and water. That is, you are giving them, you're showing a mark of respect to them and seeking their blessings. Okay. So this is not possible when there is a large scale destruction which will happen. And maybe some places the entire families would have been washed out because, or they would be killed in the war. So there may not be even a single person probably who's alive in the family. So who will then do all these things? How will our culture and tradition follow? What will happen to it? So the cult, in fact, if you look at it, already now we see a lot of cultural degradation. Isn't it? We do not, there are a lot of people who do not feel that we need to be respecting our ancestors. Whatever we are, it is because of my capability. I have worked hard and I have reached a particular position. It's not because of my ancestors, people tell. So already we see a lot of cultural degradation happening and people do not follow all these things. Whether you are really offering food and water to the ancestors, we don't know. It's only a mark of respect. It's not that we're going to feed them. Huh? It is a way of showing that respect. Why should we show this respect? Because the genes that's flowing within us is from them. Number one. Number two, we were brought up, the food, clothing, shelter, education, everything was taken care of by our parents. And who gave them that? So they had something to start off with that was given by their parents. So we cannot completely say that it is only because of my effort that I have reached this position. Yeah, we have reached that position because somebody educated us. Somebody gave us food. Somebody clothed us. Somebody gave us shelter. Yeah. And the people who did that to us, they were taken care of by their parents. Only because of all those things, we are in this position. So at any point of time, if somebody is telling that it is because of my own capability that I have reached, I don't see that as a kind of, to be something which needs to be proud of. In fact, you should be ashamed to tell that it is only because of me. Yeah, there are various other ways through which our ancestors have given us, have provided us. And it is just that we are remembering them on a particular day. It's not that we don't remember always, but on a particular day, there is certain rituals to even show that gratitude to them. So there can be a question as to why should I show it? I have it in my heart. It's enough. Yeah. But you are able to, can you tell all the time that, okay, it is only I feel it. I don't have to show anything to anybody. That doesn't happen. Yeah. So why this discrimination of certain things I will show, certain things I will not show my love? That is also not fair. Isn't it so? Be equanimous all the time. Be consistent all the time. Somewhere you want to do it, somewhere you do not want to do it. Based on our own selfish needs, that's not the right way. Anyway, so we already are seeing a lot of cultural degradation. And I think it's important that we keep up these traditions. We understand it also. Yes, there has been a certain period where nobody were ready to give answers for our questions. But today, there are a lot of medium through which we can gain this knowledge, understand why we are doing certain stuffs, why is this ritual, for what it is, understand the significance of it, and then try to keep up this tradition because we are completely enriched by tradition. Bharatam is a country, is a nation which is full of traditions, which is full of high culture. This is something which it is our responsibility to protect it. Anyway, coming back to what Arjuna is feeling now, let's look at the next verse. दोषैरेतैः कुलघ्नानाम् वर्णसङ्करकारकैः उत्साद्यन्ते जातिधर्माः कुलधर्माश्च शाश्वताः. So now, jati dharmaha. So fall in the family values. So it is not talking about jati as in caste here. It says the family, the values of the family. That if it is not there, if there is a fall in it, it destroys the community. And see, the family is a very important part for their entire nation building. They say, right? If your family is strong, if your family is united, if the family has rich values, when you go out also you exhibit those. And similarly, if every family has those values, then the entire nation will be strong, will be united. So the smallest unit of it is the family. And if, however, we are in the family, if everybody tries to have those values, we can build a very strong nation. So here they're telling the family values. Arjuna is telling family values will come down. So the entire nation is going to suffer because of that. So it's not just if a person is killed or there is a loss in the family, and if the men and women in the family are not able to be in the righteous manner, and also not be able to bring up the children in the best possible manner, then the family will be broken. If the families are broken, the entire nation will crumble down. So let's not do that. So he's giving all these reasons to say that it's not just about the family, it's also about the nation. उत्सन्नकुलधर्माणाम् मनुष्याणाम् जनार्दन नरके नियतौ वासो भवतीत्यनुशुश्रुमा. Narakavasa. So says that destruction of the family values brings in hell. So with increasing in the unrighteous ways, the fall in values, there is sorrow, not just here, not just in the hereafter. So here the verse talks about they will dwell in hell. So it's not that hell is a different place where you will go there if you do not follow any, if you lead your life in an unrighteous manner, you will go to hell. It's not that hell is a different place. What it means is you are not going to be happy. Hell is not somewhere outside. Hell can be created here in this life, or if we choose to, we can even create heaven in this life. So it's not heaven and hell is somewhere else, but it's very much here. If the family values are not there, if there is no value for our ancestors, for our own family members, okay, we are being very selfish, we are being very self-centered, then none of us are going to be happy, and we will create a hell here itself. That is what it says. Now, all these things, if you look at it, are very valid points which Arjuna is giving. So his love for the relatives, reverence for his elders, thoughts on this dharma and value system, it's something which needs to be laudable, right? Had they not sprung up from confusion. Yeah, this is coming from confusion and fear. If this had not come from that state of mind, then this is something which is very nice, what is great, what Arjuna is talking about. And so, peacetime philosophy, yeah, when the enemy is already entered and you're talking peace, doesn't make sense. Yeah, in the cross border firing is happening, and that time you sit and say no, we all are in peace loving people, we don't want to kill. We cannot sit like that time. That is not the time for that. That's the time to take your weapon out. Okay, so peace talks should have happened before. Not that they have not tried, but yeah. So peace talks should have happened before, and action should have happened now in the battlefield. But both was something which is inappropriate. Arjuna's talking about peace. He should have thought about all this, and he would have decided, no, I don't want to fight the war. Fair enough. I don't want the kingdom. I just want to lead a very normal life. I don't want to be a prince. I don't want to be a king. I don't want any of those things. Fair enough. But he wanted all of those things. And then he got ready for the war. He comes into the battlefield. All of them have started taking their weapons to fight. and then saying that, no, I don't want to fight, I want peace, is very inappropriate. Aho bata mahat papam kartum vyavasita vayam यद्राज्य सुखलोभेन हन्तुं स्वजनमुद्यताः यदि माम प्रतीकारम् अशस्त्रं शस्त्रपाणयः धार्तराष्ट्रारणे हन्युः तन्मे क्षेमतरं भवेत्. So, how strange it is that we are setting our mind to perform this great sin with horrifying consequences. Arjuna is still talking about it as to how strange it is that we are doing this big sin. But if you look at it, was the war decided by the Pandavas? No. They tried all the ways to avoid the war. Yeah. So they used all the Chanakya Nitis. First they used Sama, talking, right? They just sent Krishna as a messenger. Krishna went to Hastinapur to resolve this issue. Yeah. Then he spoke in the court and he said that, why don't you people, fine, if you do not, give them their share in a fair manner. So Duryodhana said, no, it's not going to happen. Then he said, okay, forget Indraprastham. You no need to do all those things. Give them 5 villages. He said, no, that is also not possible. Then he said, give 1 village, no. 5 houses, no. 1 house, no. To the extent Duryodhana said, I will not give them land which is occupied by 1 small pin. That much land also I am not going to give. So he was saying that he's not going to do any of those. So that did not work. Yeah. Then Krishna tried Bheda, creating some kind of a disturbance, which was not, for a lot of people, it might also look very cruel to do that kind of a thing. But what the intention was not to create disharmony, but to make sure that this war does not happen. Nobody wants bloodshed, right? So there will be a lot of people who will die, like what Arjuna quoted. So it is important to stop the war as much as possible. Yeah. So when Sama did not happen, Krishna tried Veda. He went to Karna and told his real parentage. He said that you are not the son of a charioteer, but you are the son of Kunti. So just to, why? Because it was not to make Karna very uncomfortable. Yeah. It was neither for, Krishna very well knew that Karna is not going to switch sides. Oh, now I am the eldest son, let me come to Pandava side and I will have the crown. Neither Karna wanted that. But if he knows the real parentage and then he knows that all the others are his own brothers or his own siblings, he might not want to have a war. And he might influence Duryodhana not to have the war. Or if he says, no, I will not fight, maybe Duryodhana also will stop this war. So it was with that intention, Krishna goes and tells Karna. Now, all that happened. Then he also tried to talk to Duryodhana again. Once more, let me talk, he says. And then Duryodhana says one beautiful statement. जानामि धर्मन्न च मे प्रवृत्तिः जानाम्यधर्मन्न च मे निवृत्तिः केनापि देवेन हृदि स्थितेन यथा नियुक्तोऽस्मि तथा करोमि. So this Duryodhana says, Janami dharmam na chame pravrittihi. I know what is dharma, yet I cannot follow it. I'm not able to follow it. I know what is adharma. Janami adharmam. I know what is adharma. Janami dharmam. Janami adharmam. Okay, so I know what is dharma. I'm not able to follow it. I know what is adharma, but I'm not able to live it. So right now, I am just going to act as the Lord who dwells in my heart asks me to. He says, I'm going to follow my heart, and the heart says, whatever you're doing, do it. Now, unless and until that becomes pure, so it is very important. So here it's a very beautiful statement, though, which is something which is we all need to be looking at our own self by this. That we know what is right and what is wrong many times, but sometimes we fail to do what is right and we hold on to something which is wrong. So it's a very good quote which Duryodhana tells it, though, but I think it is something which we can use to reflect upon and seeing that, are we doing this at any point in our life? Are we in the state of the mind where we do wrong things knowing that we are doing wrong? This is definitely something which, so here in Bhagavad Gita, we are not looking at, oh, this person is bad, this person is good. No. What are the learnings that we can take it and apply it in our life? So it's not to judge anybody here, judge the characters here. Oh, Arjuna was such a fool. Was he so confused? No. Whatever Arjuna was, we are nowhere near him. Similarly, whatever Duryodhana was, there can be many things about him. But this is not, we are not studying this text to say that this person was good and this person was bad, but to learn from those characters and seeing what can be applied in our lives. What is it that we should be doing in our lives and what we shouldn't be doing in. Okay. So let's move. Sanjaya uvacha eva muktvarjuna sankhe rathopastha upavishat tisrajya sasharan chapam shoka samvigna manasaha. Now, Sanjaya is telling to Dhritarashtra, see, Arjuna told all of these things, and then he kept his bows and arrows. He sat down full of stress, distress, and overwhelmed with grief. So, Arjuna came to battlefield for war. His delusion and his grief made him sit in a state of inaction. I'm not going to do, I've kept my bows and arrows. He sat and he's saying, I'm not going to fight this war. Yeah. So this is where now Bhagavad Gita actually starts. So this was a reason for us. Why this is very important is basically because we all go through this confusions and grief in our lives also. And because of Arjuna only, Krishna was able to preach dharma, not for Arjuna alone, for all of us. So only because of Arjuna's grief, we got Bhagavad Gita. So pranamam to Arjuna for giving us this text, giving us this guidance, giving such a overwhelming and an important text for us to take it in our lives, to implement it in our lives. So the universal message of Gita is being beautifully demonstrated, not just for that particular time, but all the learnings that we are going to get from this is for eternity. It was applicable at that age, at that yuga. It's applicable now, and it will be applicable for the days to come also. Okay. So Arjuna and this war, it became an excellent opportunity for us to learn, for Krishna to teach this immortal knowledge to mankind. This is an eternal text. This is an immortal text. The learnings, the teachings of Krishna will not die at all, because it is applicable all through our lives, and for everybody's lives to come. They can use this and bring in that joy, bring in that enlightenment within them. So on the battlefield, as a soldier, Arjuna's duty was to fight. Yeah. So what is Sri Krishna asking Arjuna? Do your duty. You came to fight. Now you need to fight. Yeah. Same thing if Lord Krishna were talking to a student, what would he say? Go and study. That is your duty. Yeah. If our army soldiers refuse to fight, what will happen then? Yeah. The army is attacking. In the border, there's cross firing happening, and if our soldiers are telling that no, I'm not, I don't want to kill anybody here, I'll just sit. So what will happen to all of us then? They are doing their duty. We need to be doing our duty here. In whatever ways, whatever that we are supposed to be doing, we need to be doing that. A doctor gives medicines according to the patient's need. Yeah. Surgery is the last option. As soon as you go and see a doctor, oh, okay, fine. You have this problem. Let's do a surgery. No, he will not do that. Right? He will first see if if the condition is a little mild, then he will suggest certain medicines. He will suggest rest. He will suggest certain changes in the diet. As and how the situation, if it improves, well, if it is not, then he will try to do different other things, and surgery is the last option to be done. So even for this way, all these things had happened, and only the last resort was war. All tried, like I said, Sama was done, Veda was done, now coming to Danda. Now you need to fight. Yeah. But so everywhere you will see that we don't go to extremes. This is Mahabharata war did not happen in a state of impulsive behavior. So this was the last resort. It was not without any thinking. It was not a hasty decision at all. It took quite a few years for them to say that, okay, now injustice is enough. Now we need to fight. Okay. So even if you, like, for example, there is a case which goes on in the court, does the judge give capital punishment for every crime? No. So he also looks into it, see how heinous the crime is, and based on that he goes in. So death penalty is the last resort there, like how surgery is the last resort. So, but certain places it is needed, because when too many antisocial elements are there in the society, then it is very bad for the society, and so severe action sometimes have to be taken. You might feel that, okay, the judge is pronouncing somebody guilty and they are giving a death sentence. You're also killing. The person killed somebody, but then if we also kill, what is the point? So, but if the severity of the crime is very high, then death penalty is given so that even the others learn and decide. So if they have to do if such thought comes into their head of doing such a crime, they can think that, this is the way I will also be killed if I do this. So that could stop any criminal to do any kind of heinous crime. Okay, so At certain places, the law and order has to be maintained so that everybody in the society is safe and secure. So the message of the Gita is not fight, but actively resist all evil within and outside. Yeah, the evil within also has to be fought. The evil outside also has to be resisted, or it has to be fought. Okay, in the right manner. It's not that we all can take law and order into our hands. No, there are people assigned for it, and we need to approach them. In an act of self-defense, it's okay, somebody is coming and hitting you. You don't have to say, okay, hit. No, if you have done anything wrong, somebody hitting you still makes sense. But if you haven't, and somebody is trying to exploit you, somebody is abusing you, then we need to resist. We need to take control. We cannot accept every abuse which is happening and just accept it and move on. We should not be doing that. So both the things. So there are certain times this people come under a misconception that, oh, Gita says you fight. So because Krishna is telling Arjuna, you fight. But what are you in Arjuna's situation? Are you having the same issues what Arjuna is facing? Then it's a different thing. But what the message given here is not that, okay, just because he told Arjuna to fight, because Arjuna was in that situation where he's supposed to fight. Okay, but for another person, the learning is not, so it's not people misunderstand Gita in that way. They don't understand the concept, but then they try to apply the same thing what Krishna told. Okay, he said, Arjuna, you fight, so even I'm supposed to be fighting. He said to kill, so even I'm supposed to be killing. That's not what it is. Understand the concept, understand the learning, and apply it in the way our grief is, our confusion is, and then apply, and then look into it as to what should I do in a dharmic manner. What is it that I should be doing at this time? What is my action? What is my karma? And do it accordingly. That is what Krishna is telling. So don't be under a misunderstanding that Krishna told to fight, Krishna is telling to kill in Gita. That is a wrong message. And even if somebody tells you about it, it is important that you understand what it is and tell others, no, it is not. Arjuna, Krishna did not tell Arjuna to just fight and kill. That is not what it is. So we need to apply the concept, not apply the situation there, because Arjuna's situation is different. Our situation is different. Our emotions may be the same. We, like Arjuna was confused, even I may be confused. Arjuna was in grief, I may be also in grief. But Arjuna, as a warrior, he was supposed to do certain things. What am I supposed to be doing as my profession is, or whatever is my responsibility? Okay, so apply that in your life, not the gross thing or just the direct message of kill. That is not what it is. So many a times we fail to observe what was the hidden message. It is not, so the meaning, the actual meaning, if you look at just the translation, you will only see the direct message. But then there is a hidden message that we need to understand in Bhagavad Gita. Not only in Bhagavad Gita, in every scripture, you take Vedas or you take Upanishads, you need to look at it in a very, very deeper way to really understand what the rishis meant, what Krishna meant, okay, what Vasishta meant, what Valmiki meant in many texts that we have. So look into it and don't go by the direct meaning what is there and say that this is what it is. And that is where all the misconceptions, misunderstandings have come, whether it is caste system, whether it is hierarchy, whether it is the ill-treating of women, everything. You cannot say that, oh, it's there in the scripture. You need to look at the scripture in a very detailed manner. That is why study of the scriptures is very, very important in the right manner so that we understand the right concept behind it, not fall for the all these what people talk about and then say that, okay, our scriptures all are talking about violence. It is not. Okay. So this ends the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna Vishada Yoga. So we saw that Vishada means grief, yoga of Arjuna's grief. This grief is a very powerful mechanism for us to have a complete transformation sometimes. So here, why it is called as Arjuna Vishada Yoga is yoga of Arjuna's grief. What is this yoga? Because through this grief, he understood so many things about himself. What am I? What is my purpose in this life? What is the purpose of this war? He understood every little details so much so that the way he would have thought before that about himself and what he learned after this. The coming chapters, you will see how Arjuna's grief made gave a different purpose for such a beautiful transformation, not only for Arjuna, but for all of us. Okay, so how he transformed his grief is what we will be seeing in the next chapters of Bhagavad Gita. So that is why it is Arjuna Vishada Yoga. So because of he got a totally new vision, a means to liberation. So it was an enlightening talk or enlightening teaching given by Krishna. It was not just an ordinary teaching. He was enlightened after Krishna's teachings. So and even if you look at it, even Arjuna surrenders completely also. You will see it in the second chapter, how Arjuna surrenders completely and how Krishna will start his teachings from there on. So sometimes it's good to have these challenges in our life because these challenges paves way for a beautiful transformation in our lives. When the challenge comes in is when we will see how our life is and what is it that is really important in our life. The priorities will be set and we will be able to lead a beautiful life, having understood the challenge, having tackled the challenge. So whenever there is a challenge coming in, take it in that spirit that it is giving me an opportunity to transform myself. Okay, so with the blessings of the Lord, this transformation is very much possible. Let's look at one of Kabir's doha. दुख में सुमिरन सब करे, सुख में करे न कोई, जो सब में सुमिरन करे, दुख काहे को हाय. So, when there is difficulty, whenever there is any difficulty, we all pray to God. And when there is happiness, do we really look towards God at all? No. But if we are able to turn towards God when we are in happiness also, then how will sorrow come is what Kabir is telling. Such a beautiful one. Because we don't tend to have that feeling within us that the divine resides in us all the time. If we have that feeling that the divine is residing within us all the time, then there is no need to feel sorrow at all. Then there's no way for the sorrow to come into our life at all. So it is not that we only need to turn towards the divine when we have any challenges, but all the time, keep that in our mind that the divine dwells within us. If that feeling is there all the time, then there is no sorrow which can touch us. Okay? Sankatam vaste Venkataramana. That is what people do, right? When trouble and problems arise, then turn towards God. Yeah? but it is not that time, all the time, have that divine within us, because the divine resides within us. It's not that have the divine within us. The divine resides within us. It's just that we need to remember, we need to remind ourselves that He's already there. The divine is here within us. Why then fear? Yeah, we are all part of that divine. We've come from that infinite consciousness. Then why should we have that fear? Okay, so let's do what we have to do. Let's do our duties. Let's take care of our responsibilities. That's the way to go. But we may have a lot of questions. How when this confusion comes, what will happen when this grief is coming to us? How do we tackle it? I think in the next few chapters, or in the next 17 chapters that we will see, Krishna is going to give us a whole lot of ideas and concepts that we can apply it in our life and make this life a very beautiful. Okay, so we will see in the next video the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Sankhya Yoga. Okay, let's close it now. Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.